Ulit na naman ang liputan niya. Charis. So, perioperative nursing management. Sa perioperative nursing, yun yung period of time na nagka-constitute ng surgical experience. So, ang pre-operative phase, yun yung period of time na nag-decide ka na magkakaroon ka ng surgery hanggang sa dalhin ka sa operating room. Kapag intraoperative phase naman is yung period na na-transfer ka sa operating room hanggang sa i-admit ka sa PACU or post-anesthesia care unit. So, sa may post-operative phase, yun yung period na in-admit ka sa PACU hanggang sa susunod na evaluation mo, pwedeng sa bahay or sa clinical setting. So, ang mnemonic para dito ay PIP or pre-operative, intraoperative, and post-operative. So, sa may pre-operative phase, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, meron tayong 7 na scope of nursing activities. Una, kukuha ka ng baseline ng patient mo. Pangalawa is pre-operative interview. Merong physical and emotional assessment. Then, previous anesthetic history. Identification of all known allergies or genetic problems. Pre-admission testing or PAT. Pag-arrange ng appropriate consultative services, providing preparatory education about recovery from anesthesia and post-operative care. So, dito, i-explain mo na after ng surgery, ganyan. So, sa intraoperative is, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meron tayong 5 na scope nursing activity. Yung una is patient safety. Wait lang. Dito pala sa pre-operative phase, ang important dito is ang emotional condition ng patient mo. Sa intraoperative, since yung unang-una nga dito is patient safety, yun yung pinaka-important dito, yun yung priority mo. So, maintaining aseptic environment na trabaho ng circulating nurse, ensuring proper function ng equipment, circulating nurse pa din, providing the surgeon with specific instrument and supplies sa surgical field, scrub nurse na to. Completing appropriate documentation, circulating nurse pa din. So, sa other nursing activities, magpro-provide ka dito ng emotional support by holding the hand of the patient habang nag-i-induction ng GA. So, i-assist mo din yung patient sa positioning niya sa operating room table using principles of body alignment. Dito, mag-act upon ka as scrub nurse, circulating nurse, or registered nurse first assistant or RNFA. So, sa may post-operative phase, meron siyang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 scope of nursing care. Ang priority dito sa post-operative care is comfort and relief. So, first we have maintaining the patient's airway, monitoring vital signs, assessing the patient of the anesthetic agents, assessing the patient for complications, and providing comfort and pain relief. So, sa may focused nursing activities, dito magpapromote ka ng recovery sa patient, diba? Mag-initiate ka ng teaching and follow-up care. Merong referral for recovery and rehabilitation after nila ma-discharge. Tapos, perioperative patient focus model. So, sa pre-operative nursing care, meron tayong, ito yung general consideration para sa mga patient na nagre-require ng surgery. So, ito yung mga conditions na kailangan talaga ng surgery. Obstruction or blockage, perforation, pag sinabing perforation, nag-rupture yung organ katulad ng artery, which is aneurysm, bleb, nagkukos ng pneumothorax, sa fallopian tube din pwede. Then, erosion, wearing away of the tissue surface of surface ng tissue. Ito yung sa mga gangrene and sa mga bed sores. Then, tumor is abnormal growth. Sa merong 3 types ng tumor, benign, malignant, and cancerous. So, yung benign, hindi siya cancerous. Yung malignant, cancerous siya. Yung precancerous, gitna nilang dalawa. So, kapag according to purpose naman, we have the DEC, which is yung diagnostic, exploratory, and curative. Kapag diagnostic, titingnan lang or i-verify lang yung diagnosis mo. Kapag exploratory, titingnan kung gaano kalala or gaano kalawak yung extent ng disease mo. Kapag curative, is nire-remove or nire-repair yung disease or damage ng organs. So, sa curative, meron siyang 4 types, which is yung ARCP, or ablative, reconstructive, constructive, and palliative. So, ablative, ito yung parang same lang talaga siya ng meaning ng curative, which is tinatanggal yung mga diseased organs. Katulad ng nephrectomy, yung tomy is removal. Kapag reconstructive naman, is ito yung partial or complete restoration ng damaged organ. Katulad ng plastic surgery after magkaroon ng severe burn. So, constructive naman is repair of a congenitally defective organ, katulad ng plastic surgery sa cleft palate. So, ang difference nilang dalawa is sa constructive, nung pinanganak ka, meron ng damage doon and aayusin na lang. Kapag reconstructive, maayos siya nung pinanganak ka, tapos kunyari nagkaroon ng accident, kaya i-reconstruct. Kapag palliative naman, nagre-relieve ng symptoms or katulad ng palliative or supportive care, gano'n. So, sa degree of the risk to the patient, meron tayong major surgery and minor surgery. So, wala yung notes ko, di ko alam kung nasan. Pero kasama dito yung time ng surgery, yung risk niya sa patients, financial, anong klaseng anesthesia gagamitin. And yun lang ata, hindi ko na maalala yung iba. So, sa may categories ng surgery base sa urgency, we have ureo. Ureo means emergent, urgent, required, elective, and optional. So, sa may emergent, ang patient ay nagre-require ng immediate attention. So, dapat walang delay kasi nga, pwede siyang maging life-threatening. Katulad ng severe bleeding, bladder or intestinal obstruction, fractured skull, gunshot, or stab wounds, extensive burns. And next we have urgent, which is ang patient ay nagre-require ng prompt attention within 24 to 30 hours, katulad ng acute bladder infection, kidney or urethral stones. So next we have required, kung saan ang patient ay dapat magkaroon ng surgery, needs to have surgery. Pwede siyang i-plan for weeks or months, katulad ng prostatic hyperplasia without bladder obstruction, thyroid disorders, and cataracts. Kapag elective naman, the patient should have surgery. Pero wala namang catastrophic na mangyayari if the patient to do so. If the patient fail to do so, basta, kapag yung ginawa ng patient, wala namang catastrophic na mangyayari, katulad ng repair of scars, simple hernia, vaginal repair, and sa optional naman, ang decision is nagre-rest sa patient. Pwedeng personal preference niya, katulad ng cosmetic surgery. So, sa may effects of surgery upon the person, the stress response is elicited. Tumataas yung heart rate, tumataas ang blood pressure, ang blood sugar, nagkakaroon ng bronchial dilation. Defense against infection is lowered, syempre kapag nasa surgery, exposed ka. Vascular system is disrupted. Organ functions I think disturbed dapat to. Then bodily image may be disturbed kasi parang, for example, nagkaroon ka ng peklat, hindi magiging conscious ka sa appearance mo. lifestyle may change, katulad ng after mo magpa-surgery, bawal ka na ng ganitong pagkain, bawal ka na tumakbo, whatsoever. And factors in the estimation of surgical risk, we have physical and mental conditions of the client. Ito yung mga factors na pwedeng mag-affect. So, sa age, kapag masyadong premature yung baby or di kaya masyado ng matanda ang tao is mas nagiging at risk sila. Sa nutritional status, kapag malnourished, at risk din, pero kapag obese, at risk din. And sa state of fluid and electrolyte balance, dehydration and hypovolemia predispose client to complications. So, kapag dehydrated or mas prone ka sa complications daw. So, sa general health, infectious process increase operative risk. Tapos, type of drug taken regularly, steroids. So, ang steroids, di ba ginagamit yun ng mga athletes? Ginagamit nila yun para magstay yung body nila or makakatch up yung body nila sa stress. So, kapag, sa situation na to, ang anesthesia ay natatawag nating stress sa body. So, since naka-steroid ka, kailangan mo ng mas madaming anesthesia para tumalab sa'yo yon. Then, sa anticoagulants and salicylates, nag-i-increase yun ng bleeding during surgery. Antibiotics din is, yung iba, incompatible sila sa anesthetic agents. Sa tranquilizer naman, potentiate the effect of narcotics and cause hypotension. So, yung narcotics, wait lang. So, parang lalong pinapababa yung blood pressure mo. Sa antihypertensive din, is magkakaroon ng shock kasi nga, yung antihypertensive, di ba nagpapababa na yun ng blood pressure? And yung anesthetic, nagkakos lang din siya lalo na magbababa yung blood pressure, kaya magiging magkakaroon ng shock. Sa diuretic naman, nagkakaroon ng increased potassium loss, which is response ng body sa stress. And sa alcohol naman, kasi nga di ba pag laseng, parang mas mataas yung pain tolerance mo. Ganon din yung mangyayari sa kapag binigyan ka ng anesthesia, parang dapat mas madami. Tapos, mas at risk yung mga alcoholics kumpara sa mga hindi alcoholics kapag dating sa risk ng surgery. And sa mental health naman, economic, sa mental health, hindi ko alam eh. Sa economic and occupational status, yung sa financial. Sa extent of the disease, kung gano'n nakalala, operable pa ba, magnitude required operation, same lang yon. Resources and preparation ng surgeon, nurses, and hospital. Hypovolemia, dehydration, or electrolyte imbalance, nutritional deficits, extreme age, extreme weight, infection, sepsis, toxic condition, immunologic abnormalities, pulmonary diseases such as obstructive, restricted, and respiratory infection, renal or urinary tract disease, decreased renal function, UTI, obstruction, pregnancy, diminished maternal physiologic reserve, cardiovascular disease, coronary artery, MI, cardiac failure, dysrhythmias, hypertension, prosthetic heart valve, thromboembolism, hemorrhagic disorders, cerebrovascular disease, endocrine dysfunction, diabetes mellitus, adrenal disorders, thyroid malfunctions, hepatic disease, cirrhosis, hepatitis, and pre-existing mental or physical disability. Wag na yan. So, sa assessment of health factors that affects the patient pre-operatively, meron tayong health history, physical examination, nutritional and fluid status, optimal nutrition, which is an essential factor sa pag-heal ng patient and pag-resist ng mga infections and other surgical complications. So, sa assessment of the health factors that affect the patients preoperatively, same lang pala siya dito, assessment ng nutritional status, obesity, undernutrition, weight loss, malnutrition, deficiency in certain nutrients, metabolic abnormalities, effects ng medication sa nutrition, special problems of the hospitalized client. So, ang determinants ng nutritional needs mo is BMI and waist circumference. Dehydration, hypovolemia, electrolyte imbalances, pwede yun mag-lead sa significant problems sa patient, lalong-lalo na sa mga elderly. So, ang protein ay important sa wound healing, blah, 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 blah. Basta, huwag na yan. Calories, kailangan mo yan. Kasi nga, yun yung pinagkukunan mo ng energy. Water, important yan sa BP, sa buong body mo, important yan. Vitamin C, mas madali nag-heal yung wound kapag meron neto. Thiamine, niacin, or riboflavin, nagdi-decrease ng enzyme available for energy metabolism. Folic acid, vitamin B2, nagkakaroon ng megaloblastic anemia, decrease or arrested cell division. Vitamin A, impaired immune function, mas matagal din mag-wound healing. Vitamin K, tinuturok sa baby, prolong yung clotting time or prothrombin time. Iron sa blood, zinc sa wound, and drug or alcohol use. Acutely intoxicated persons ay susceptible sa injury and ang surgery is napopostpone kasi kailangan mo nang ipababa yung intoxication sa body mo. Kapag emergency naman yung surgery, local spinal or regional block anesthesia is used for minor surgery. Para ma-prevent yung vomiting and potential aspiration, nag-i-insert ng NGP or nasogastric tube bago mag-administer ng general anesthesia. Kapag meron kang chronic alcoholism, pwedeng magkaroon ng alcohol withdrawal delirium or delirium tremens na na-anticipate natin 72 hours after magkaroon ng alcohol withdrawal. So, sa may respiratory status, ang goal is maturuan ang patients na magkaroon ng optimal respiratory function through breathing exercises and use of incentive spirometer. So, dito, ina-assess yung patient kung meron ba silang underlying respiratory disease katulad ng asthma and CAL. Patients na nag-yosi ay dapat mag-stop 2 months bago mag-surgery, and ng adverse effects noon is kapag smoker ka, mas increase ang airway reactivity, decrease ang mucociliary clearance, ang physiologic changes sa CV and immune systems. Sa cardiovascular status naman is dapat in-ensure natin na well-functioning yung cardiovascular status ng patient. Dapat na-meet yung fluid, oxygen, nutritional needs perioperatively. And ang uncontrolled hypertension ay pwedeng mag-cause na sa surgery para ma-postpone. Dapat control muna yung BP bago mag-start yung surgery. So, sa may hepatic and renal function, merong pre-surgical goals na dapat optimal ang functioning ng liver and urinary systems mo. para lahat ng medication, anesthetic agents, body waste, and toxins is ma-remove sa body mo. And careful assessment is made to help with the help, ina-assess ang liver through various liver function tests. Ang patient na merong nephritis, acute renal insufficiency, or other renal problems is contraindicated sa surgery. Ang patient na merong obstructive uropathy, ang surgery is ipe-perform para as a life-saving measure para ma-improve yung urinary function mo. So, sa may endocrine function naman, yung mga patient na mayroong diabetes mellitus, at risk sila for hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia. Dapat ang goal is i-maintain ang blood glucose at less than 200 mg per dl. Dapat minomonitor lagi ang FSPG. Ang patient na nag-receive ng corticosteroid ay at risk for adrenal insufficiency. And yung mga patient naman na merong uncontrolled thyroid disorders, at risk sila sa thyrotoxicosis, and respiratory failure. Sa immune function naman, dinidetermine yung existence of allergy, pati yung nature ng previous allergic reactions. Ang patient ay tinatanong sa mga substances na allergic siya, katulad ng mga medication, sa blood transplant, contrast agents, latex food products, and nagde-describe ng signs and symptoms na pinroduce ng substances na yun. So, sa previous medical use, syempre important ang medication history na ina-obtain natin kada patient kasi nga meron silang effect sa perioperative na sa surgery. Medications, OTC, Echinacea, Ephedra, garlic, ginkgo, ginseng, kava-kava, St. John's wort, licorice, and valerian. So, ito yung mga medication na pwedeng maka-affect sa surgical experience. Corticosteroids katulad ng prednisone, ang brand name ay Deltazone, pwedeng mag-collapse yung cardiovascular. Sa diuretics naman, meron tayong hydrochlorothiazide, hydrodiuryl. During anesthesia, nagkakos siya lalo ng respiratory depression dahil nga nagkakaroon ng electrolyte imbalance kasi nga iniihi mo lahat ng electrolytes. Kaya nagkakaroon ng anek sa potassium, kaya nagkakaroon ng respiratory depression. So, sa may phenothiazines naman, katulad ng flupromazine or thorazine, is nag-increase siya ng hypotensive action of anesthetics, so lalong bumababa yung BP. Ganun din naman sa may tranquilizers, katulad ng diazepam and Valium, nagkakos ng anxiety and seizures kapag tinanggal agad-agad. So, sa insulin naman, interaction with anesthetics and insulin must be considered when the patient with diabetes undergoing surgery. Sa antibiotic naman, ang erythromycin, kapag kinimbind mo siya with pariform macrocell relaxant, nerve transmission is interrupted kaya nagkakaroon ng respiratory paralysis. Sa anti-seizure medications naman katulad ng pentinol or dilantin, an IV route medication may need to be administered to keep the patient seizure-free during the intra- and post-operative periods. Sa monoamine oxidase or MAO inhibitors, phenylzine sulfate or Nardil, nag-i-increase sila ng hypotensive action. And sa may anticoagulants katulad ng warfarin, syempre magkakaroon ng bleeding risk. Sa psychosocial factors naman, meron tayong pre-operative anxiety, merong fears of the unknown, death, anesthesia, pain, or cancer, concerns about pagkawala ng work time and job, maging burden sa family, and parang hindi ka na pwede magiging income, incapable ka na sa mga bagay-bagay. So, sa may spiritual and cultural beliefs naman, important siya kasi hini-help niya yung mga patient mag-cope with fear and anxiety. Ang mga beliefs ng patient ay dapat nating i-respect and i-value natin yung beliefs nila, and kasi makaka-help yun na sa atin na mag-form ng report and trust sa kanila. Isa daw to sa mga most valuable skill ng nurse, which is yung listening sa patient, lalo na kapag nag-obtain ng history. So, sa analysis, potential nursing diagnosis, anticipatory grieving related to perceived loss of normal body image, anxiety related to the effects of surgical procedure, fear related to surgery, risk for infection, ineffective airway clearance, ineffective individual coping. So, sa may pre-operative, it begins at the time of the decision for surgery. So, kapag ulit-ulit naman. So, yung pre-operative, kapag nag-decide ka na for surgery, meron psychologic preparation sa surgery. Tapos, meron preparation for hospital admission. Una is explain yung procedure na gagawin, yung outcome niya, kung gaano katagal yung hospitalization, yung cost, yung length of absent mo for work, residual effects, and yung pre-operative visits. Sa pre-operative, ina-assure na din yung legal aspects. Yung unang-una sa lahat is yung informed consent para maprotektahan yung surgeon, yung hospital, yung nurses na authorize yung surgery na pinerform. And kapag claim ng patient na unauthorized yan, ito yung panlalaban natin na alam ng patient yung potential risk for complications, and ayun. So, ang informed consent ay necessary sa mga following circumstances: mga invasive procedures, surgical incision, biopsy, cystoscopy, paracentesis, procedures requiring sedation or anesthesia, a non-procedure such as arteriography that carries more than risk for the patient, procedures involving radiation, and ito naman yung criteria para masabi nating valid yung informed consent. Dapat voluntary yung consent, freely given, and walang coercion. Kapag incompetent ang patient, ang legal definition nun is ang patient na hindi kayang magbigay ng autonomous or withhold consent, katulad ng mga mentally retarded, ill, or comatose patient. Pag ganon, magkakaroon tayo ng informed subject. Informed consent should be in writing. Dapat nagko-contain siya ng following: explanation ng procedure and risk, description ng benefits and alternatives, offer na i-answer natin yung mga tanong about the procedure, instructions that the patient may withdraw consent, statement informing the patient if the protocol differs from customary procedure. So, dapat din ang patient ay nagko-comprehend. So, dapat naiintindihan nila yung sinasabi natin, understandable, tapos dapat ang mga tanong sinasagot. Then, patient personalized, dapat yung patient mismo yung magsasahin sa consent if legal age na siya and mentally capable siya. Kapag minor, unconscious or incompetent, dapat merong family member na magsasign nun or legal guardian. Kapag emancipated minor, married or independently earning his or her own living. Kapag sinabing emancipated, parang siya na lang sa life, ganun. Wala na siyang parents, ulila. Dapat, yung mga ganon, sila yung magsasign sa consent nila. And sa state regulations and agency policy must be followed. In an emergency, it may be necessary for a surgeon to operate as a life-saving measure kahit na walang consent. So, preoperative teaching. Sa preoperative teaching, meron tayong preoperative experience, preoperative medication, breathing exercises such as coughing and incentive spirometer, leg exercises, position changes and movement, pain management, reducing anxiety and fear, support, coping, and special considerations related sa patient natin. Wait lang. Sino po naman yan? Yeah. So, sa pre-op, yun yung best time na i-instruct natin yung patient natin. So, deep breathing exercises, gumagamit ng diaphragmatic abdominal breathing. 5 to 10 times siya kada isang oras sa post-op period. Coughing exercises, deep breathe, exhale through mouth, and then follow with a short breath with cough. Splint thoracic and abdominal incision to minimize pain. Turning exercise every 1 to 2 hours after post-op. Extremity exercise prevents circulatory problems katulad ng gas pains or flatus. Instruct natin yung patient na umupo para magkaroon ng best lung expansion for coughing and deep breathing exercises. Instruct natin sila na breathe deep 3 times, inhaling through nostrils and exhaling through mouth. And then, yung third breath, dapat i-held mo yun for 3 seconds. And then the patient should forcefully cough out of 3 times. Patient ay magpe-perform ng exercise na to kada 2 hours. So, sa may splinting excision, if the surgical incision or abdominal thoracic, or i-instruct mo yung patient na maglagay ng pillow or isang kamay sa top ng incisional area, sa taas ng kung saan siya inoperahan. During deep breathing and coughing, the patient presses gently against the incisional area to splint and support it. So, ito yung sample ng diaphragmatic breathing and splinting when coughing. So, sa may incentive spirometry naman, instruct natin yung patient na gawin to in a sitting position. Yung lips is i-cover yung mouthpiece completely. Instruct yung patient na mag-inhale slowly, maintaining a constant flow through the unit, and then maximal inspiration is reached. Kapag na-reach na yung maximal inspiration, yung client, i-hold niya yung breath niya for 2 to 3 seconds, tapos mag-exhale siya slowly. Instruct yung patient na yung number of breaths should kada isang minuto ay hindi dapat lumagpas ng 12. So, leg and hip exercises. Instruct the patient to press the back of the knees against the bed and then relax the knees. This constructs and relaxes the thigh and calf muscles, preventing thrombus formations. So, i-instruct mo din yung patient na i-rotate yung foot in a circle 10 times kada isang oras and have a client flex the knee and thigh, straighten the leg up in the air, and you hold mo yun for 5 seconds bago mo ibaba. Pina-perform yun 10 times a day. So, sa pain management, assessment includes determination, acute and chronic pain to differentiate pose of pain from chronic condition. So, a pain scale should be introduced and explained to the patient. Patient is instructed to take the medication as frequently as prescribed during the initial post-op period for pain. Methods of administration for analgesic agents for inpatients, PCA, epidural catheter bolus infusion, or PCEA. So, sa may cognitive coping strategies, useful naman to para sa pag-relieve ng tension and overcoming anxiety. Nadi-decrease yung fear and nagkakaroon ng na-achieve yung relaxation. So, yung imagery, dito is parang pinagko-concentrate natin yung patient into a pleasant experience or sa restful scene. Sa distraction naman is parang kikwentuhan natin sila or sila yung mismong magkikwento and then pwede din silang magsabi ng kanta or ng tula daw. Kapag optimistic self-recitation, ang patient is sila yung sasabihin nila sa sarili nila na everything will be alright, everything will be well. Kasi nga, optimistic self-recitation is nag-iisip ka ng mga optimistic na thoughts. Sa may preoperative teaching content naman, pine-present siya sa group meeting, videotape, during night classes, and at pre-admission testing by telephone in conjunction with preoperative interview. Yung instructions, when and where to report, what to bring, what to leave at home, what to wear, and the last preoperative phone call is designed to remind the patient na huwag kakain or iinom, just like instructed or directed. So, sa may reducing preoperative anxiety, we have cognitive strategies. Sa may music therapy, it is easy to administer, hindi mahal, hindi invasive, and legit nagkaka-reduce naman talaga siya ng anxiety. Sa pre-op teaching naman, tuturuan sila about ventilator, drainage tubes, and other types of equipment na makaka-help mag-decrease na anxiety during the post-op period. So, sa pre-op, merong psychosocial interventions na nagdi-decrease ng fear, katulad ng pag-visit ng mga pamilya mo, kaibigan mo, availability ng spiritual advisors, and hypnosis. Meron ding respecting cultural, spiritual, and religious beliefs. So, i-identify mo nga yung beliefs nila, tapos i-show mo na nire-respect mo yun. So, Jehovah's Witness, bawal sila mag-blood transfusion for religious reasons. Yung information na yun, dapat important yun na ma-identify mo. Kasi pre-operatively period, documented, and communicated well dapat yun sa appropriate personnel. Sa patient safety, yun yung primary concern mo during pre-operative. Sinabi naman na kanina. Then, dapat nothing per orem, bowel prep, and skin prep immediate preoperative preparation, complete checklist and chart, hospital gown, voiding, removal of dentures, jewelry, contacts, etc. And preoperative medication, and dapat i-attend mo din yung family needs. So, general operative nursing interventions, physical preparation on the night of the surgery. So, dito, managing nutrition and fluids. Ang major purpose ng withholding ng food and fluid bago mag-surgery is para ma-avoid natin yung aspiration. So, new recommendations for elective surgery by American Society of Anesthesiologists as a task force on preoperative fasting. Depende sa age ng patient and sa type of food na kinain niya. Ang mga adults ay advised na mag-fasting for 8 hours pagkatapos kumain ng mga matatabang pagkain. 4 hours naman kapag uminom ng gatas, and most patients are currently allowed clear liquids up to 2 hours bago ang elective procedure. So, preparing the bowel for surgery, enemas for abdominal or pelvic surgery, cleansing enema or laxative may be prescribed the evening bago ang surgery, and pwedeng i-repeat siya ng morning ng surgery. Yung goals is para magkaroon ng satisfactory visualization sa intestines mo and ma-avoid yung contamination ng peritoneum ng mga pupo mo or feces mo. So, ang antibiotic is nagre-reduce din siya ng intestinal flora sa intestines mo. Siyempre, saan pa ba? So, here we have the enema, and then we have the preparing the skin. So, ang goal natin sa preparing a skin is ma-decrease yung bacteria dun sa part ng skin na yun nang hindi natin ini-injure yung skin. So, sa mga non-emergency na surgery, parang pinapauwi mo na sila, tapos for several days, gumagamit sila ng soap na merong detergent germicide para linisin yung area na yon ng skin. And, ayun. Tapos, generally, hindi naman kailangan tanggalin yung hair sa area na yon unless nag-interfere sila sa operation. So, kapag tatanggalin yung hair, kailangan ng electric clippers para sure natin na safe yung hair removal bago mag-operation. Okay. So, sa next na tayo.